Okay, guys, I will be recording this here, so we are going to go ahead and get started. We have a ton of information, guys, and I am going to try my best to keep this as simplified as I can, but I'm actually sharing a lot more than I normally would on just an intro Zoom. And that is because we have done these 5-day resets for so many years that they've evolved into giving a lot of different options. So I don't want you to feel scared. I don't want you to feel like I have no idea where to start. But the great thing about this is because we have so much experience that we can really help guide you on where is the best place for you to get started. All of a sudden, I hear a little guy in the background. Sorry, guys. So, real fast, I'm Amanda Villarreal, and I am a personal trainer, nutritionist, and have, myself and our team here have been working with 5-day resets for a long time. And I love the fact that this goes beyond just talking about, it's not just about weight loss. It's not just about energy. It's the big picture. And you're going to hear me say that a lot tonight, that we really want to concentrate on doing things that are building our health. And this is where we are never fans of talking about trends, talking about fads and what is the latest and greatest, because if it just came around, most likely there's not any research or science to back it up, because that's why it's new. So I always want to be careful when we hear something is so amazing and all these amazing results. And I'm actually not even a big fan of before and after pictures, but I do know all these people, so I feel safe sharing their pictures. But I really like to highlight for this in particular, the bloating. I think with the reset, that's one of the biggest things that I hear is how much less bloated they feel. And you can see by some of these pictures that these are great examples of that. It might not be necessary that they lost a ton of weight, but it is amazing when you're giving your body what it needs and the right nutrients of how your body will start to do what it's supposed to. Its digestive system starts to be acting how it's supposed to, that you will be amazed. People can look like they lose about 10 pounds just by getting rid of some of that, again, bloating factor. And this is not just water weight, guys. I want to make sure we're highlighting that, because we want to make sure that we are drinking a ton of water. That is a key thing, guys, beyond this 5-day reset. But we really want to concentrate for these 5 days on what is some of the things that you tend to neglect. Is it your water? Is it your sleep? Is it your activity? Is it the right supplements? Is it getting enough vegetables? We are going to be giving you a lot of tips in the group for this. But the reason we need to do these, and again, we used to do these monthly, is these toxins that we are constantly seeing, not just putting in our bodies, but also around our bodies, really trigger a lot of these symptoms you will see on the screen. So when we notice things like headaches and bloating, we mentioned here, but even mood swings, we blame our hormones on that. But so much of this can 100% be diet related. And a lot of times we have different people come on and share some of their testimonials, but tonight I really want to just kind of quickly run through what this is and how we're going to be doing it, and just give you an overview. So some of the benefits that we love to see, and again, this is not a quick, okay, we are going to give you a pill and this is life changing. We want to see those, some of the things that even it's kind of interesting, your sense of taste, your sense of smell. Like, it is incredible of how when you start to learn more about nutrition and how it plays in every system in your body, that you will be really surprised of how different you feel even after 5 days. So a lot of the things that we notice we struggle with, and I know for a lot of us, coming off from COVID and maybe being a lot more sedentary and maybe noticing our diets have changed a lot. But a really big thing to note is, what have you been craving lately? I really think that we sometimes don't understand the fact that when we are craving something, generally that's a sign of our body telling us we have malnutrition. So if we have a deficiency somewhere, it can show up as a craving. So when you're thinking, I need chocolate, it could actually be maybe you have a deficiency in magnesium or another vitamin. So it's a really good idea to start to understand, if we fill in those gaps, of how our bodies will start to function better. And over time, this is what we want to focus on, is the concept of building health. So this is where we mentioned Shaklee, and I just like to highlight, I know generally most people that, have been using products are very familiar with Shaklee, but I love to make people understand that this is not just a quick fix. The Shaklee's been around for actually over 100 years. This says 60 years, but they actually made the very first multivitamin back in 1915. So they have done plenty of research to actually prove that what we are stating is actually true. And it's also important you know this, because you want to know that what you are putting in your body is safe. And this is where clinical studies are extremely important nowadays with anything you are taking. I don't care if it is anything over the counter. You want to make sure that there are regulations, that there has been clinical studies to prove that they're safe. And especially for what we're trying to do here with the reset, that we know it works. And this is where these third-party peer-reviewed medical journal studies come to really play a big part in helping us to understand why do we incorporate Shaklee products into our life and into this 5-day reset. So one of the things that I do always highlight in particular on this, yes, the purity, the potency, the performance, but I love that one that says more than 250 pesticide tests is beyond what is required by the United States Pharmacopoeia. So what does that mean? That we are actually over 100 tests higher than what organic standards are. So when you look at supplements, it is very scary because most of the time there's zero regulation. So you have no idea what you're getting. Going to the store, going to GNC, going to the health food store even, you have no guarantee that their products are actually safe because there has been no studies. And this is what separates why we talk about using something that can actually promote long-term health. If you're looking at the screen here, this landmark study, this was very impressive because I see clients, I will tell you guys, I just met with a guy last week and he is 32 years old and he is on 25 medications. You think about how the compounding effect, he is almost on as many medications as how old he is. That is scary. And I know that if I asked any of you, you would probably say that anybody you know over 65 is on some medications. That is just the way our society seems to be working, as that we have a problem, we fill it with masking the symptoms, but we don't actually get to the root cause. And this is what medications do. So when we talk about long-term health, we have the proof that if we do the right things, you can see here that after the age of 63, for 20 years of clinical studies, that Shaklee users were actually on 0.6 medications after 20 years. So again, I just think that that's very important to highlight because that's something we really want to be promoting is the long-term factor. Last thing just to highlight here really quickly is this landmark study. There were several control groups. We love to highlight the fact that most of the biomarkers we see today in people's long-term health is actually better in people that take no supplements than people that take store brand supplements. I think that is absolutely incredible. And again, is very important to highlight. One, because we don't want people to waste their money, but two, could it be affecting them long-term? And yes, the Shaklee users, you'll see there everything from, looking at your C-reactive protein levels. That is a huge one. I'd say that when you guys do this reset, that is one big thing you'll notice is less inflammation. And that's what C-reactive protein tests for, is inflammation in your body. So the less inflammation we have, the less we notice things like any of your itises, arthritis, bursitis, your things like irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulosis, anything digestive health oftentimes stems from a high amount of inflammation in our body. So a very important thing to highlight here. All right, guys. So our 5-day reset, why have these been so popular? And we are starting a brand new group for this one because we do want to focus this on just kind of a pre-spring break, just a fun, fun short-term group. So you guys are not going to see that a year from now, we're still posting in this group. It's just a limited group for a few weeks that we're going to give you guys a lot of information, recipes, tips, and support. That is what makes us different, guys. We keep these small groups. So this is not going to be a group with 600 people in it. Just so you guys know, we'll probably have anywhere from 20 to 40 people in here because we want to be able to hold you guys accountable and to be able to help you. And that is a big part of why we do this, is because we want to feel as though you're getting the results and you're meeting the goals that you're creating for yourselves. So with that being said, we love people before the reset to take some pictures. You do not have to put those on social media for us and show us your before and afters. That's not what that's about. It's just to notice, guys, like, how does your face look after your reset? Or again, the bloating factor. Take some measurements. That's always a great idea. It's not necessarily about weight. I know people love the scale, but the scale is really a deceiving factor in helping you to show progress. Because if you're also exercising, remember you're gaining muscle, you may not notice a ton of weight coming off, but if your measurements are changing and your pictures are looking better and your clothes are fitting better, then you know it's working. So let's go through, guys, and explain this 5-day reset. I said we have a ton to talk about here, so I'm going to try to move through this as quickly as I can. So we are going to wake up every day and start with warm water with lemon. Why do we do that? And if you don't know anything about lemon, it's very interesting in how it's actually a great way to stimulate detoxification first thing, especially in the morning. So this is what you're going to start with, and then we're going to add some vitamins in our shakes in there. But this is ideally what we start with is that warm water with lemon. So we're going to attempt for this 5 days, guys, we want to eliminate any triggers. This means we're trying to keep out the gluten, we're trying to keep out dairy, and we are trying to stick with things that are as close to nature as possible. That's what this is all about. When we look at long-term health, we want to be choosing things that are focused on nature. So this tea, if some of you are big coffee drinkers, pop drinkers, you really love caffeine, this is going to be our option for those 5 days, is to incorporate a option of using matcha teas. And why? Because these are an excellent source of antioxidants. They have a ton of health properties, but they're not addictive, and they're not going to have the symptoms of withdrawals like coffee or things that tend to over time actually become you depend on them. And if you're depending on something, that probably means that that's not something you should be having in your diet every day. So this has evolved, guys. Like I said, this might confuse people, but the great thing about how we're putting this together is I want you to know there's options for everybody. Okay, so if you are brand new or you've never ordered a Prove It Challenge or a Meology Challenge, that is your best deal, because you'll actually get a month's worth of your shakes and your vitamins and a cleanse pack and your free shipping and a free membership. So everybody can order those one time. Anybody that's already a member can do that also one time. So that is your best value. That's like a $260 package that is a good deal. But the thing that gets a little tricky with this is, again, you're going beyond the 5 days. So you'll have your vitamins and shakes beyond that. And it comes with the cleanse pack. So let's really quickly help to kind of explain here. What is the cleanse pack? You're going to have an AM and a PM, and we're going to talk about some of the products that are in those cleanse packs. You can also get them separately, but this is convenient. Okay. So when we do the traditional cleanse, we only do a cleanse once or twice a year, and it's intense. It's 7 days and there's no protein allowed. That is not something you should do very often. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your metabolism, but it is a great thing to do to give your organs a break from digesting protein, because it's hard on your body, just a couple times a year. So with this, guys, this is not eliminating protein. Okay. Make sure that you've got that in your head, that this is not a cleanse. We are doing a reset, but you can use the cleanse packets to make it easy for you if that's helpful. Okay. Because those vitamins and supplements are all great to use that week. But you can also choose maybe more the vitalizing strip and the shakes, or the most basic option if you're looking at per day. Remember, it's going to give you more than the 5 days, guys. So anything you're looking at, this is for actually for a month or two of supplies, but it kind of helps to give you a breakdown. So why do we choose things like our vitalizer as part of this as our focus? This is actually something, guys, that we like to highlight. You should be taking anyways. This is something that we are filling in the gaps using our supplements. And the diets that we notice today are not as nutrient dense. And if you look at this picture, I can guarantee you guys do not eat everything in that middle picture there on your screen every day. There is things in there that you might do a good job, but I can guarantee you do not eat sardines every day. If you do, you are very abnormal. Just kidding. But most of us do not. But these are the things that we need to make sure that, we're taking a supplement strip. It's time released. It's staying in our bodies. It's going to help to filling in those gaps throughout our day, all day. And I love that little picture of you are what you eat. And this just gives us an example, guys, of how all those different nutrients we need, but it's very hard to eat them. So this is why we find, and again, I've been doing this for, 27 years now that I have personally been taking these, that I know, and even working with the clients that I do, guys, that you will notice a difference filling in the voids with taking supplements. So in that little picture there showing how the organs, I just think that's very fascinating. And there's a lot of truth to that. If you think about how those nutrients affect your body, it'll make you even more, you might not like to eat avocados, but you know what, if you can get the supplements to give you those nutrients, it is a great fit. And I think that's what we find too. Not all of us like all of these foods that we should be eating every day. And that's where the supplementing becomes very important. So, all right, guys. So like I said, I don't want to overwhelm you, but there's a lot of options. These are the individual breakdowns of the products. Okay. So these are in the cleanse packets, or you could choose to do them separately. All right. So let's kind of just quickly review, what are these things? The liver DTX. What is that? That is something that is amazing to help with stimulating bile flow. I always suggest with a liver DTX, if maybe you've ever drank alcohol, you've ever had surgery, you've ever been on medications, Basically, all of us at some time or another should do something to help clean out our liver because it stores junk. Your liver has actually over 200 functions in the body, and it's a key organ that we want it to continue to function optimally, because if it doesn't, you will know there are a lot of health consequences that come from not having your liver optimally working. So we want to be able to figure out ways that we can help to stimulate that. So that is what the liver detox does. And you're going to note, guys, that any of these products will not, uh, you don't have to worry about them contraindicating if you are on any medications. And for these 5 days, you do not go off your medication. So I need to make sure I highlight that. You will stick with your medications. These are basically nutrients, just like from food. So there's nothing you have to take out. You're just adding. The Herblax. This is by far, I'd have to say, one of the products that scares people the most that's in the cleanse packet. Anytime somebody hears lax, yes, it's a laxative. This is kind of interesting. Other countries do not use Miralax or laxatives like we do here in the US. They use sienna leaf, which is the main ingredient in that Herblax. And basically it creates your body to either, whether you go too much or you don't go enough, it creates your bowels to work how they're supposed to create a cleansing effect. This was one of Dr. Shackley's original formulas back in 1930. And I cannot tell you how many people take this actually daily to help keep them regular. And it is perfect for our 5-day reset. So you will use the Herblax. And then we also have Alfalfa, which is, again, another one that some people are like, I have no idea what that is. It's in your cleanse packet, or you can, again, get this separately. This is something personally, I would say I take this every day. Actually, so does Art. He uses it for allergies. I'm sure Grace over there, Jennifer, probably takes some alfalfa. Maybe you too. I don't know. Many times, we have a lot of athletes or people that, really need to keep like swelling down and they get injured a lot. Alfalfa is just, I use it for swelling, for circulation properties, but for our cleanse and our reset, it actually helps to pull heavy metals from your body. So I say, guys, this is a lot of information, but it's so interesting as you learn more about the different options that are available. It helps you to just kind of open up to seeing the options of what is out there. So alfalfa, again, I love it for the reset and the cleanse. But if you look at what alfalfa is, it actually grows 20 feet plus deep and absorbs trace minerals. And that's what makes it so unique. It is by far the most nutrient dense plant that is available. And you will know that every Shackley product is, again, we talked about those organic standards, so we don't need to worry about the pesticides, herbicides, where if you went and bought alfalfa over the counter, you'd be surprised to actually find what is in there is way more than just alfalfa. And that's something that can be, very scary when we think about the long-term effects of that. Now, other things that are helpful, guys, and again, these are not mandatory. You can start out with the basics. You could start with just your multivitamin, and you could start out with figuring out, okay, I'm going to do the life shakes as my meals, and we can adjust from there. But I also find that when people are making changes to their diet, a lot of times it's stressful. And I know that all of you agree we do not need any more stress in our lives these days. So whatever we can do to help control stress levels, this stress relief complex, amazing. If you're someone that struggles a little bit with anxiety, if you struggle a little bit with depression, if, I just had a neighbor the other day, she really struggles with panic attacks, anything that causes when your cortisol levels rise and you notice that feeling that you're very anxious, this stops it. Within 10, 15 minutes is very fast acting. So even when you are maybe, for example, eating a ton of sugar in your diet and you're going to cut that out for 5 days, you may feel times when you're very moody and very stressed. And this is a great thing to help get you through. So that's why we put it in here as just something to mention. And B complex actually is similar but different. So the stress relief helps with blending the cortisol, but your B complex, it's known as your happy vitamins. And this is all of your B vitamins together. And this basically helps to make sure that as we're going through some of those cravings that we might be trying to get rid of, that this can be a quick, it absorbs instantly, that it can help you to get through. So some people really love taking extra B complex to the day for energy and as a little pick me up. So it's always a good thing to know. We talked about the energizing tea, and now really quickly, let's highlight the life shakes, guys. So talking about getting a lot of nutrition, that's our goal. 5 days, let's pack in the nutrients as much as we can. And that's where even these life shakes are so important, because we can get everything we need in a simplified way. And again, I think for a lot of us, having meals that are simplified really can help us be more successful. Our kids, I mean, our family basically, we have done life shakes for I can't even tell you how many years now. And that's just our breakfast every day. Now, for our reset, we're going to try to actually do this 2 times a day because we want to only have to plan one meal that we have to think about having to prepare and be focused on. And that'll take away some of the stress for you. So pick your 2 meals that you really think that are your hardest ones. If you really want to do 3 shakes a day, some people for the reset, that's actually what they do, 3 shakes and 2 snacks. But you need to be eating every 2 to 3 hours. And the protein is your staple, guys. And the soy protein, there's also a plant protein option, but I always like to highlight, you do not need to be worried about our soy. Okay, this is a very safe soy that, again, Shackley has found ways to keep it very, it's all non-GMO, it's all plant-based, but if you look at, it's the highest quality soy that you will ever find. And that means it has a lot of great health properties to it. And so generally, unless you are allergic to soy, I always tell people stick with soy. There's really no reason. Even people I've had to say, hey, I've had breast cancer. My doctor said to completely avoid soy. They do very well with our soy protein because it's actually absorbed. It's not a genetically modified protein that we don't know what it's going to do once it gets in the body long term. This has been studied for many years and we know completely the safety of it. So that's why that's the key of our energizing shakes here. So guys, there's a lot to know about these, the digestive properties. They're very safe. Again, they are a great thing to be able to know that we will be building health using them and we will not be overfilling ourselves. We want to kind of be thinking about how can we get more balance with the protein, carbs, and fat. You're going to see in the group, guys, I'll be sharing like snack ideas. How do we pair our foods? And that's something we want to really work on for these 5 days. Like for example, I always say if you're going to have like an apple, we're going to pair that with peanut butter. So we want to be thinking about that balance effect that we are not causing our blood sugar levels to spike. And again, guys, this is habits beyond the reset. This is just to get you back into those, maybe some of those habits that we forgot about, or for some of us, this will be brand new for you. But one of the other things I love to highlight about this life shake, you see this picture of fat and muscle, that these shakes have an amazing content of leucine in there. So they help with preventing you to lose your muscle, but they help you to lose fat. And that is something that a lot of us, as we have weight loss as a goal, that we really need to focus on. And so we know that if we do start to lose weight, the good thing is it's not coming from muscle, which is what most diets do. It's actually coming from fat. And we can use the life shakes in other ways, guys. We'll be giving you, I'm going to plan to post a new recipe every day for those 5 days of a different shake or a different way to use the shakes. So for example, the protein ball recipe here, this is a great recipe that you could easily incorporate into your week, but take out the chocolate chips for reset week. So even if you have some favorite recipes, maybe you can think about what can I take out and still make it healthy. And you'll see here, it has in healthy fats, it has in there your protein, has in there your fiber. So it does have those nutrients we were talking about. And for your shakes, guys, you do not have to be fancy and use a great big blender and have all these crazy ingredients in there. So we don't want to scare you, but some of us love the variety. So I'm going to be giving you recipes that probably will have a lot of those options, but you know what? You can put in a shaker cup and go too. For those of us that are busy, it's good to know that you can make this as simplified as you want. And again, guys, I'm giving you all the options. I usually don't share all of this, but I feel like a lot of people that are doing this have done this so many times. They'd like to know all of the things they could be using too. So let's say, for example, one of the days you're going to be traveling and you don't have access to maybe even make your shakes. These meal bars are amazing as a quick pick me up and go to if you need a meal option on the go. So we like to highlight, has the balance of the protein, carbs, high amount of fiber in there. It's an excellent meal replacement to be used on the go. And also the snack bars, guys. If you don't want to have to plan a snack, use these bars. They are a perfect balance option that gives you everything you need. All right, so here's a sample day real fast. So we're going to have for our morning, we started talking about the lemon water. We'll incorporate our cleanse packets or the supplements you want to choose to use. Okay, so again, oopsie, sorry guys, I'm bumping stuff over here. You can kind of pick whatever feels like, you want to be concentrating on for your breakfast. If you want to do your shake, great. You have your snack, you have your lunch, and I'm going to give you guys more sample meal plans here too, but this is just kind of to give you an idea. We're going to make sure we're drinking a lot of water. We're going to try to be moving. We are trying to, cut out the eating past 8 o'clock. Some of the habits, like I said, that might sneak in and keep ourselves more active throughout these 5 days. So we're almost there. Let's just really quickly answer a few questions that some of you guys might have, and you might have more. So make sure you remember those. But how are you going to prepare? I will post, guys, grocery shopping ideas for you, ideas for what to have for, I said, snack pairing. And I think that you might be surprised that if you do get a headache, we have options like using that tea and using things to help pick you up. But you have to know, guys, if you are someone that has a pretty good diet, you might not have any symptoms. But maybe you are someone, like I was saying, that, you rely on a lot of processed foods, or there's a lot of things that you might not be realize you're dependent on. You cut those out, you could have some headaches. You might notice some changes that you might have to work through, but it's all to make you looking at improving your health. So don't worry, it's all part of the process. But really, guys, for the most part, everything you need to buy, you can find at any grocery store, again, except for obviously the Shaklee products here. And you do not need to worry about having to live in the bathroom, because everybody's always worried when they do any type of cleanse that, hey, I work, how am I supposed to get through this? You will be just fine. Any digestive concerns, guys, we have had literally some of the strangest conditions I've ever heard of go through the 5-day reset, and they have been completely fine. So it does not matter if you have, like I said, some major health concerns, you can do the reset, guys. It is just getting back to thinking about real food. So for this next week, guys, I want you to start slowly cleaning out your pantry, and let's start to be thinking about what we're going to be filling. So let's start to get rid of junk. Okay, so that means anything that, has all these sweeteners in it, anything that really, if you think about, packaged foods for the most part, we have to really read those labels carefully. So we're going to start to phase out a lot of the chemicals that might be in our cupboards that we don't realize. So you guys have kids, this is a perfect time to tell them they can clean out the pantry for you and go eat all the things that you don't want to be eating next week, and start to fill that pantry with things that we want you to be having. And again, we'll be giving you lots of lists to help support you. So here's kind of a recap, guys. This was kind of helpful that, we are focusing on healthy living and incorporating things that are going to be building long-term health. So we have our options. We have lots of different package options. You can individually supplement. Again, somebody that's never gotten the Prove It Challenge or the Meology Challenge, that's going to be your best value. And from there, it's totally up to you. Some of you guys already have some of the vitamins, so you can just pick and choose what you're going to be incorporating. So last thing I'll leave you with, guys, before we open up for questions here real quick, I love the fact that, we have medical communities and we have holistic options, but I love the fact that what Dr. Shaklee created way back, again, over 100 years ago, our focus should still be today on building health. And that's what this is all about, guys, is these resets, everything that we provide. We don't do this as a way that we want to trick you into buying something. We want you to, be trying this trend, and it's going to throw off your metabolism, and you're going to notice you gain 20 pounds after doing this. This is all about looking at ways to build health. So we are excited you guys are considering doing this with us. And again, I'm sure you will think of questions, but let's go ahead and open up here real fast, guys, as you're all muted. So, and even if something you want to add. So Jennifer, I know you've done this before, and anybody else, maybe if you have something you want to share or add, feel free to, guys. Are any questions? Hope I just explained it all so well, you guys have nothing to ask. Yeah. All right, you guys are easy. Unless you're figuring out how to unmute here, Anlin, you kind of look like you.
It was super informative, Amanda. It was very good.
Good, thanks. I talk fast, so this is recorded, guys, so you can go back, but I want to pack it in so we can be ready to go. So, all right. Well, if you guys do think of things, please let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and stop our